Greetings, YouTube. The Doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons and Dragons. And today on the Doctor Spell Prognosis, we are talking about the spell Plane Shift. Welcome to the channel that takes power gaming to the next level. I'm really excited about this spell because there's so much to talk about this spell, and we are not giving this spell a D. We are giving this spell an A+. So much to talk about. It almost, in my opinion, just because of one small thing in here, is almost an S. It's very close. I would definitely put this spell in my choices of spells that I would want to cast. But first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or comment. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you know when I've got another video. All right, Plane Shift is a 7th level spell that is usable by clerics, druids, sorcerers, warlocks, and wizards. We don't necessarily care about the warlocks being able to use this, but it is a spell that is usable by a number of different classes. The bard is not on here, but do not fret. Do not worry, because the bard can pick this up with magical secrets at 14th level. So there is that. It is an action, one action casting time, which is fantastic for this spell. It is a combat spell. There is a combat portion in this, and that is why it takes one action. But it is a range of touch. It has a verbal, somatic, and material component, which is a forked metal rod worth at least 250 gold attuned to a particular plane of existence. So I know in Campaign 1 of Critical Role, Matt Mercer used this as a adventure tool. So he, created adventure lines for the characters to get these particular tuning forks. I think that's a pretty cool idea. If the players want to get to a certain place, maybe you have them go on a quest for a particular tuning fork. So there is a adventure, hook, line, and sinker dimension to this spell as well. You and up to 8 willing creatures who link hands in a circle are transported to a different plane of existence. You can specify a target destination in general terms, such as the City of Brass on the elemental plane of fire, or the Palace of Despater on the 2nd level in the Nine Hells, and you appear in or near that destination. So the more you know about the place, the better, and the more accurate you can be as to where you're going to go. If you are trying to reach the City of Brass, for example, you might arrive in its Street of Steel before its Gates of Ash. But you could say, I want to go to the Gates of Ash at the City of Brass, and it will take you to the gates. Or you could say, I would like to go to the Burning Inn on the Street of Steel in the City of Brass, and you'll go there. So there is that. You need to talk to your DM about that before you do that, but that generally is how this spell works. Alternatively, if you know the sigil sequence of a teleportation circle on another plane of existence, this spell can take you to that circle. If the teleportation circle is too small to hold all the creatures you transported, they appear in the closest unoccupied spaces next to the circle. So, essentially, it's planar teleportation. You can designate a place. If you know about it, it will get you as close to that place as it possibly can. If you know the teleportation address, you can go there. If you happen to memorize this spell twice, you can go to the place you're going and come back to a different place on the plane. So it's kind of an indirect teleport on the same plane. You're not actually going from one place to another on the same plane. You're going to a different plane, and then you're coming back. And that's kind of a cleric or druid way of getting around not having teleport. That is a way for them to do it. And I know a lot of parties do not necessarily have a sorcerer or a wizard. I'm not going to talk about warlocks, but a sorcerer or a wizard for using this particular spell or for using teleport to get around. So a cleric or druid can use this as long as they have 2 slots to cast it. And then they can teleport to X plane, and then you go to the Feywild, and then you teleport back to where you want to be on your plane. And so it's just an extra one. Now, But there's more. And this is the greatest. I mean, all that's really good, but this is the part that makes this an A+ spell. You can use this spell to banish an unwilling creature to another plane. It doesn't say, it just says creature. Choose a creature within your reach and make a melee spell attack against it. On a hit, the creature must make a charisma saving throw. If the creature fails this save, it is transported to a random location on the plane of existence you specify. A creature so transported must find its own way back to your current plane of existence, which means if it can't plane shift or something similar, it is stuck. It is super stuck. Now, this is it's a melee spell attack, which means, I'm going to point something out, which means technically you cannot use your familiar. A familiar can deliver a touch spell, but it can't itself attack. And because it is an attack, then a familiar cannot attack, but it can take other actions as normal. Finally, when you cast a spell with a range of touch, your familiar can deliver the spell as if you had cast the spell. Now, the problem is this is not a touch. It says touch up here, which is part of this paragraph here, linking hands, but the banishment part is not touch. The banishment part is a melee spell attack. So your familiar cannot do that. Unfortunately, your familiar can do it, but there are some ways around that. And we're going to talk about that. So this is the best part of this spell, and personally, I think for combat, it is you're going away and you're not coming back, because I know you don't have a way to come back. So this spell is the big brother to Banishment, which is a 4th level spell where you, this one has a range, however, and you can send something away for a minute. Then if you're sending them back to their original plane of existence, then they don't return. But this one just sends them away, period. And then they're gone and they don't come back unless they have a way to come back. So as far as the wizard class goes, I like School of Divination because of the portent ability, and because at 14th level you're getting 3 of these dice. You're almost guaranteed to get one that is a super low roll. And this is a charisma saving throw, which we love for players because most things cannot make a charisma saving throw to save their life. And they need to make it in this instance or they're going to another plane. And you can send them to, if you have the right particular tuning fork, sending something to Pandemonium or something like that, it can be super devastating. The negative plane of existence. They're going to go, if they're a living creature, they're done. Bards, we like the College of Eloquence. Again, a bard can pick up this spell with magical secrets at 14th level. So, and they can pick the spell up, and then if they're Bard of Eloquence, they can use unsettling words to give that thing a penalty to its saving throw, its charisma saving throw, and send it to the astral plane, the ethereal plane, the negative energy plane, the shadow realm, etc., etc., etc. Now, sorcerers, I always like the wild magic sorcerer for this type of thing just because they have the bend luck ability, and they can give a small penalty to a saving throw, but that D4 can mean a lot. Now, the big thing for them is this spell still has a range of touch. Now, this says range of touch, but it doesn't really say anything about melee spell attacks. So, again, it's up to your DM on how to interpret this. This has a range of 5 feet. I would say that a sorcerer could use Distance Spell to do a range touch attack instead of a melee touch attack with a range of 30 feet for 1 sorcery point. But again, that's up to your DM. You can't do it with your familiar because your familiar cannot make attacks. But you yourself as a sorcerer can make attacks. So there is that. But I mean, this is the biggie. Regardless of whether you are next to them or not, you have a really good chance of hitting. That was one of the things that kind of annoyed me about some of the earlier editions of Dungeons and Dragons, that the spellcasters had a really hard time hitting things with touch attack spells. That got fixed, so this is a pretty good chance to hit. It's a great saving throw, which can be penalized pretty massively with some of these other school options or college options for the different classes of wizard and bard. And you can get rid of a creature, and you can get rid of a creature to a place that it won't live very long, and thus defeating it. So, all right, that is what I have for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.